Special edition on the situation in Iran continues with the business angle. Yuka Royer joins us here for that. Great to see you as always, Yuka. The situation then, widening conflict in the Middle East, rattling global markets.
Well, Mark, global energy prices surged as the weekend attack against Iran by the US and Israel and Tehran's retaliation have disrupted maritime transport of oil, with the conflict now expanding to a wider region. International benchmark Brent crude rose as much as 13% this Monday to over $82 a barrel before retreating to around $78 a barrel. The West Texas Intermediate futures are trading at just over $70. Now, European gas prices rocketed more than 50% at one point this Monday after Qatar's state-run energy firm, the world's largest producer of liquefied natural gas, halted production following military attacks on its facilities. Well, with no clear end game in sight, with Donald Trump saying that the US operation will continue for at least a few weeks, there's growing uncertainty over just how much damage the war will cause the global economy. More than 150 tankers are anchored at either side of the Strait of Hormuz, and if the traffic remains blocked or severely reduced for a lengthy period of time, it could cause a major disruption. 20% of global oil and gas passes through the chokepoint, as well as around a third of the world's fertiliser shipments. A synthetic fertiliser is made with petroleum-derived chemicals. Well, for more, let's bring in Noam Raydan, Senior Fellow at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. She tracks oil tankers and is an expert on maritime risks in the Middle East. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Yuka. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Now, Noam, let's start with the Strait of Hormuz. It remains effectively blocked, and insurers are refusing to cover war risks in the Gulf. Global oil prices have risen, but not skyrocketed thus far. But if this continues, of course, how much disruption do we expect to see to the global supply of energy, but also other goods such as fertilizer?
This is a very good question, Yuka. As you noted at the beginning, this is a very important region for global oil and gas supplies. The question right now is, for how long would this escalation go on? Before I joined you, I took a look at my map, which I use to track ships. We are not seeing tankers moving through the Strait of Hormuz. So we are still seeing only a few bulk carriers. These do not carry oil. The question is, for how long will it last, and how will it affect supplies and put more pressure on gas prices? To put this in context a little bit, some countries can probably dip into their stockpiles or replace oil barrels that usually come from the Middle East, replace them with others, let's say Russian barrels. But other countries will feel the pressures, or continents like Europe. Europe, for instance, relies on around 45% of jet fuel. This is aviation fuel that originates from the Middle East. For how long will they be able to tolerate the supply risk from the Middle East is a good question. I don't have an answer for it. It will depend on all the military operations that are taking place, and specifically Iran's escalation. Today, we did see, since yesterday, we saw Iran escalating a lot in the shipping and energy domains. Today, we saw how Iran started attacking critical energy infrastructure in Saudi Arabia. The impact has been so far minor, but in Qatar, which is considered a key LNG supplier to global markets, had to shut down a key LNG facility, and this is big news for the market. The question now is, how long will this last, and how will it affect the market further, is something that everyone in these two sectors, energy and shipping, is monitored very closely.
I mean, apart from its proximity and having a part of the Strait of Hormuz as its own territorial waters, how strong has Iran's grip on this critical waterway? I mean, it has used it as a weapon or a hedge against regional conflicts or regional tensions before, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I've tracked ship attacks in the region since 2017. I've seen how Iran can harass and attack commercial shipping in the region, as well as the Houthis in Yemen. I've tracked each ship attack that the Houthis did over the past years, and I've also kept my eyes on how Iran has been going after commercial shipping, either in retaliation to U.S. sanctions or as part of its conflict with Israel. So Iran has an expertise in attacking commercial shipping, and I would not underestimate its the methods that it might use in order to put further pressure on shipping. We've seen attacks so far against tankers. We saw a tanker that was attacked yesterday off Muscat, and also, we've seen attacks of the UAE, and also today an incident was reported in Bahrain. All these have involved ships. Iran has the capability to inflict more damage on the shipping scene, and this is something I'd recommend watching closely. The Houthis were inspired by Iran. They learned a lot from Iran how to go after commercial shipping, and we saw how the Houthis in Yemen disrupted shipping. So I would expect that Iran, if it wants to escalate further, it can further create disruption in the region. This will depend on its willingness to escalate and on the war overall.
But it can also hurt Iran's own economy, can't it? Because it also relies on its exports and shipments of oil.
That's another very good question, Yuka. The thing with Iran is before the war, they exported big volumes of their oil out of the region, which is right now, it is either on water or considered floating storage. According to the data available, they exported very high volumes before the war, over 2 million barrels per day. How long will it be able just to rely on that volume outside the region and continue a very long conflict? This I don't have an answer to, but of course, as you said, the Strait of Hormuz is very important for Iran, as well for some of its, let's call them allies, such as China. So keeping this region disrupted for a long time will affect everyone, even those countries that support Iran, countries such as China.
Well, what are shipping companies saying? I mean, these are the operators of these commercial vessels. Are there alternative routes for them? But with bases and energy facilities in other Gulf states also coming under attack, it's not just the Strait of Hormuz that has become a risky point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, we have some energy infrastructure that was targeted, like today in Qatar. We have also Ras Tanura, Saudi Arabia. An incident was reported there, and also at a power electricity facility in Kuwait. So this is already happening, the targeting of critical infrastructure. And as I said earlier, if Iran wants to escalate further, they can start going after probably fuel tanks, and even keep escalating further. And I believe there was a report earlier before I joined you about a fuel tank in the UAE, but I have to double check that.
Well, Noam Raydan, Senior Fellow at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. Thank you so much for your analysis.
Thank you very much, Yuka.
And that's it from the Business Desk.
Yuka Royer, as always, thank you very much indeed, Yuka, with the business angle on our ongoing coverage of the situation in Iran, where the strikes by American and Israeli jets continue, and Iran continues to launch retaliation strikes across the Middle East